you look at something like Bitcoin, is Bitcoin more accepted or less accepted than 10 years ago? And the answer is more accepted. And I had this discussion with George Selgin on I think it was with David Lyn, or I forget what show it was, but I was talking with George Selgin. And it's like, in any given country, because there's kind of a local monopoly on the currency, unless it's like a failed state, 10 out of 10 merchants will accept the local money, right? You have a very dense jurisdiction. But as soon as you go outside of that country, that acceptance fades rapidly for most currencies. Even like the Norwegian currency, it's a strong currency, but if you try to find a vendor in New Jersey that's going to just accept physical Norwegian currency, it's almost none.
The great majority of currencies are not tradable outside of their own national borders, according to independent macro expert Lyn Alden. To put it another way, no one in the rest of the globe especially wants to hold or receive these funds, save from the fact that they have local monopolies on their use in their local jurisdictions. Either because they are small, have low liquidity, and are difficult to recognize outside of their own country, or because their value fluctuates a lot. Ironically, this means that the world's financial system is just a giant barter system. We have 180 separate currencies, each with its own regional monopoly, as opposed to just one or two that we all use. Only a small number of them, like dollars and euros and gold more slowly, are worldwide saleable to a respectable extent. The non-profit group Freedom House categorizes nations as either free, mostly free, or not free. This brings up the issue of financial censorship. Compared to 46% in 2005, only 20% of nations now adhere to their concept of freedom. Bank accounts are frequently frozen arbitrarily in many nations, and as was already noted, it can often be difficult for working-class people in developing nations to even access their bank accounts, since banks don't think it's worth their time to deal with accounts with such modest balances. Additionally, much or all of their wealth is typically difficult to bring with a person who becomes a refugee at some time in their life, which amounts to millions of people. Although Bitcoin is only 14 months old, Lyn Alden examines the argument and how it fits into the idea of perfect money. Despite this, there is no denying Bitcoin's power. The video will now begin. Please click the like button, subscribe, and post your thoughts below.
The bigger point I'm trying to get to is that when you ask perfect money, what is perfect money, or what is ideal money, you'll get very different answers from, say, the people who want to issue that money, or people who are academically inclined and systematically inclined and think like, what is if I were to design the system, what I would make it like? It'd be like dynamically adjusting, and it would. Whereas like if you're the user of the money, your answer is I want the money that's going to appreciate over time. I know the supply, I know the rules. The rules are not going to be rug pulled on me. I want to be able to bring it anywhere in the world. I want nobody to be able to dilute it. I want nobody able to just take it from me, especially easily, just like with a push of a button. And I want it to be fast, and I want it to be secure. And so you get actually very different answers to that question if you're kind of looking at it from a user perspective. You hear like a dynamically adjusting system, and users are like, no, I don't want that. I just want to hold hard money. Whereas if you're a central banker, if you're a normal banker, if you're an academic, if you're a monetary historian, you're like, hey, we need this kind of system that's going to meet all these different requirements, and it just doesn't take off because users don't want that money. And I think that's where I go to the Austrian view that money is an emergent phenomenon. And even when you have top-down designs of money, like fiat currencies, it's not an accident that some of those monies are accepted in other countries and ones are not. So there's a reason that the dollar is accepted more places than the yuan. There's a reason that, like the Nigerian currency is not accepted everywhere. There's a reason that certain currencies are accepted more often than others, and it's because those are actually kind of free market choices. So for example, when my family in Egypt, when they like hold physical cash dollars, they're making a choice. No one's like in America, we kind of have to use dollars. But when you're in Egypt, you could hold yuan. You could hold something else. You could hold Egyptian pounds. That's the easiest one to do. But they're making a decision to hold dollars, let alone obviously gold, Bitcoin, all these others. And so money's at its root really an emergent phenomenon, but that even includes attempts at top-down money creation. Kind of the features of the Federal Reserve is that it was like this weird agreement to make it half public and half private. It's like the president can't just call up the head of the central bank and change the rules, right? There's actually kind of a set of balances, and it takes pretty extreme intervention to actually centralize it. And so one is that the United States has no country has perfect rule of law, but the United States has one of the better, more consistent rules of law, right? So China can rug pull you more easily than the United States can. In a broad sense, you're more likely to get rug pulled. And you have closed capital accounts and things like that. And so the combination of being the largest military power, largest economic power, biggest liquidity, and then some reasonable degree of rule of law and decentralization, so that there's no one person that can just print a ton of money. It's the fiscal lever exists, the central bank lever exists, the commercial banking lever exists, and these are kind of in this sort of delicate dance that has allowed it to maintain for decades. It's actually that rules-based system, even though the rules aren't as solid as something like Bitcoin, for example, there's some degree of rules to it, and that's what made it trust globally. Other than the dollar and to some extent like the euro and a few others, they quickly lose saleability outside of their own jurisdiction. And then you think, which currencies are somewhat global? Which ones are somewhat globally accepted? So one of them is the dollar. That's number one. It's got the entrenched network effect, the most liquidity, the biggest capital markets, rule of law, launched by the biggest economy, entrenched network effects, deals in the Middle East, everything that kind of like fed the network effect, and then it becomes self-sustaining. Another one would be gold. If you bring a gold coin with you, especially like a sovereign gold coin, which gives it some degree of authentication and easy verification. If you bring a gold coin, a gold eagle with you, almost anywhere in the world, you can find a buyer without much slippage. You might not be able to go to a coffee shop and get a gold coin, but you can find someone within some degree of blocks that'll give you a reasonable amount of value for that gold coin. You can get it convertible pretty easily. Euro is pretty good. Silver is okay. And Bitcoin is already in the top 10. It might be number 5 or something, but at the bare minimum, it's in the top 10. And that's despite the fact that it's a 14-year-old currency. And so unlike the dollar or the euro, it doesn't have any sort of local monopoly where it has this very dense degree of acceptance. I mean, maybe now El Salvador is an exception, but you don't really have these dense areas of acceptance. Instead, it's a digital currency that you can bring in many places around the world, especially urban cities, and it's already a top 10 currency by saleability despite no monopoly, nobody enforcing it, and despite the fact that it's still very young and the trend is up.
Johnny Ang, a well-known legislator in Hong Kong, has extended an invitation to global virtual asset trading platforms, including Coinbase, to set up shop in the city, heralding a significant advancement for the cryptocurrency sector. In a tweet, he wrote, "I hereby offer an invitation to welcome all global virtual asset trading operators, including Coinbase, to come to HK for the application of official trading platforms and further development plans. Please feel free to approach me and I am happy to provide any assistance." Setting the foundation for more chances and growth in the digital asset market is the city's new licensing scheme for crypto retail trading, which went into effect on June 1st. N, who is well recognized for his ardent support of Web 3.0 technologies, has previously argued that Hong Kong should investigate the possibilities of its planned central bank digital currency, the CBDC, the ET, as a stablecoin connected to decentralized finance. The most recent action taken by Hong Kong to enact new regulations for operators of virtual asset trading platforms has attracted attention on a worldwide scale and might serve as a model for other countries seeking to legalize retail cryptocurrency trading. In the midst of a legal investigation by the US SEC into possible securities law violations, Coinbase, a leading global cryptocurrency exchange, expresses strong interest in expanding to Hong Kong, demonstrating their dedication to compliance and acknowledging Hong Kong's attraction as a potential location for expansion. Hong Kong's dedication to promoting innovation and luring top players in the cryptocurrency business is demonstrated by the city's embrace of international cryptocurrency exchanges under its new licensing scheme. With this breakthrough, Hong Kong has the ability to establish itself as a leading center for cryptocurrency trading and innovation, fostering economic growth and positioning publishing as a pioneer in the developing digital economy. The crypto community is still vibrant and thriving despite the growing bubble in cryptocurrencies, which is even more bullish for the future. Can you concur that Lyn Alden believes Bitcoin to be the ideal currency? Please share your opinions in the section below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notification settings for additional videos. Thank you for watching.